There's always that one person in the group that people just keep moving closer to. They're not the loudest one, not necessarily the funniest, but people just keep finding reasons to stay in their company a little longer. And nobody really notices how it happens. That's not a coincidence. There's a reason for it, and it's actually not that complicated. Most people walk into a room trying to get something, trying to be liked, trying to impress, trying to seem like they belong. And people feel that, even when they can't name it. There's a low-level tension that follows someone who's performing. You don't consciously notice it, but you feel a little guarded around them. Like something is slightly off, but you can't put your finger on what. But this person, this type, they walk in and they're not doing any of that. They're not scanning the room to figure out who's important. They're not laughing a little too hard at things that aren't that funny. They're not checking their phone every 2 minutes to avoid standing alone. They just exist in the room, comfortably, like they showed up to actually be there, not to be seen being there. And that difference, that subtle, almost invisible difference, hits people somewhere they can't articulate. It's called presence. Real presence. Not the loud kind, the quiet kind. Now, the natural next thought is, okay, so they're just confident. But that's not quite it either, because confidence gets thrown around a lot, and it doesn't fully explain what's happening.
Think about it. There are plenty of confident people who are insufferable. Confidence alone doesn't make someone magnetic. What this type of person has is something slightly different. They're comfortable enough with themselves that they don't need to prove it. And that changes everything about how they interact with people. When they're talking to someone, they're actually listening. Not waiting for their turn to speak. Not mentally drafting their next sentence while the other person is still talking. Actually listening. And people are so starved for that. So genuinely starved for someone to make them feel heard, that when it happens, it feels almost startling. Like, wait, this person is actually paying attention to me? That's when the pull starts. And the thing is, this person isn't even trying to create that feeling. That's the part that makes it so disarming. It's not a technique. It's not a calculated move to seem deep and mysterious. They're just actually interested. They ask follow-up questions. They remember small details, not because they were trying to remember them, but because they were paying attention in the first place.
But here's where it gets really interesting. This person also isn't agreeable in the way most people are. They won't just nod along to keep the peace. If they disagree with something, they say so. Not aggressively, not to start a fight. Just calmly and directly. Like it's not a big deal to have a different opinion. And most people are so used to everyone either picking sides dramatically or going completely wishy-washy, that when someone just goes, actually, no, here's what I think, without all the tension around it, it's kind of refreshing, grounding even. It signals something. It says, this person knows who they are, and that's genuinely rare. There's also this thing they do, or more accurately, this thing they don't do. They don't shrink themselves to make other people comfortable. The person who's always apologizing for taking up space, who qualifies every opinion with, but that's just me, who trails off mid-sentence because they're not sure they're allowed to finish it. That's the opposite of what this type does. This type finishes their sentences. They take up space naturally, without being obnoxious about it. And watching someone be that comfortable in their own skin is almost hypnotic. It's the same reason people are drawn to watching certain athletes move or certain musicians perform. There's something about someone operating without internal resistance that just pulls the eye, pulls the whole nervous system, really. And the last piece of it, the one that ties everything together, is that they're not desperate for the outcome. Not in conversations, not in relationships, not in rooms full of people they're trying to impress. There's no grasping energy around them. And desperation, even subtle desperation, is something people sense immediately. It creates pressure. It makes other people want to step back. But when someone's genuinely okay either way, when they'd like things to go well, but they're not going to fall apart if they don't, that lack of pressure is almost magnetic in itself. People lean in because they feel like they can, because there's no weight attached to the interaction. That's the whole thing. That's the entire mystery. It's presence, genuine attention, the willingness to be real without needing to perform it, the comfort of someone who knows themselves well enough that they don't need the room to confirm it. That's the person everyone remembers. That's the one they can't explain.